Good morning and welcome to this bright Saturday morning's edition of Atlantic Television Saturday. As our Saturday magazine program, it's a weekly magazine program. And of course, Atn Saturday is a live magazine that deals with broad spectrum of issues, bringing stories, events through the lens of Atn correspondents, reporters, stakeholders, analysis of topical and trending issues. It's a program that has 3 segments of not less than 45 minutes each. Each segment has a music break, and the first segment deals with entertainment, news, and lifestyle, odd news as well. The second segment deals with business and economy. Our last segment takes us to governance and politics. Well, that's how we roll on Atn Saturday. My name is Bon Woke. I'll come your way after with my guest after introducing the first story of the day. Welcome to entertainment and lifestyle segments. We're looking at a story or a feature on internet usage amongst Nigerian youths. Entertainment and lifestyle today, we present a special report. Internet use, especially in social media space, there are several challenges and merits. Many social media observers are concerned by a new world order which internet revolution has created. It is a mixture of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some say it is eroding the essence of humanity and has turned man into a robot, made man insensitive to his immediate human environment. It has created a new world in the cyberspace, sometimes populated by fantasy and phantoms. Relationships and productivity seem to have been badly affected because of wanton addiction to social media use. The internet has been active in the Nigerian society since 1996 and became fully active in 1998. It was created solely for the purpose of communication with the aim to strengthen the ties between individuals, organizations, communities, nations. In the bid to aid faster communication, the internet bettered different platforms such as email, SMS, and social media platforms, which include Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and many more. According to UNICEF 2017, over 70% of global youths have access to the internet, and they account for about 1 in 3 internet users around the world. Here in Nigeria, about 70% of youths who are underage 35 access the internet through mobile phone use, particularly among secondary school students and even undergraduates. The internet, like every other invention, was created to improve the society by advancing things such as e-trade, e-learning, communication, and entertainment. However, the impact of the internet on its most used audience, which is youth, has strayed from the intended purpose of the internet mentioned above. The internet is now used as a strong tool for the spread of fake news, aiding cyberbullying, which has led to comparison, low self-esteem, depression, and cyber scam, strengthening the rise of the internet fraud fondly called Yahoo. Others are hacking, pornography, reduced passion for academics, distance from peers and family, and neglect of cultural values. Amongst all these negative effects of the internet on the youth, the most rampant is addiction and time wasting. In a recent survey, it was seen that youth spend over 10 hours of their own time on their screens, surfing through the various platforms of the internet. In a day, out of 24 hours, most of these youths use only 14 hours for themselves, their families, jobs, and other endeavors that they may have on their hands. The height and rate of internet usage on Nigerian youths is quite alarming and rapid. What exactly can be done to repair these negative impacts that that's left on the youths. How can we bring the youth's usage of the internet back to the original purpose for it? What balance can we establish? That's a big question. These are mundane questions we must look at as we address this problem, keeping in mind that the youths are the future of the society. Atn went to town with the roving microphone to capture these sound bites. Some interviews were granted by Joseph Ojika, Assistant Director, Copyright Commission, and he was the first to speak. And we also got the attention of Kim Bajak and Anita Ogona in that interview. Let's listen.
Joseph Ojika. I'm an assistant director with the Nigerian Copyright Commission, talking about impact of internet on relationship. I will say it has both positive and negative impact. Internet have, if you go into a home these days, a modern Nigerian home, at times you see almost the parents being glued to their phone, communicating with people outside instead of having a close relationship or a family life the way we know it. And by so doing, family life may, so to speak, boring. But on the flip side of it too, you see that the internet have a way of bringing family together. These days, you see families, especially my own family. I have my kids and kids. Some are in US, some are in America, in UK. And through internet, using the Zoom app, we hold our family meetings together. So yeah, I will say it is both ways, depending on how you apply it. Then in relationship too, internet is still the same thing. It has both positive and negative aspect of it. The positive aspect of it is that it promotes relationship. A husband I have that. I have even seen situations where people meet on the internet and they get married. That is a good side of it. And on the other side too, people flirt on the internet. You see people, some especially youngsters, it even increases or loses parental control. Your daughter might be at home, you may be thinking, yes, your daughter is under lock and key. But you don't know, through the internet, your daughter might be, or your son might be having a love affair with somebody on the other side of the globe. So that is my whole humble submission. Thank you very much.
My name is King Bajak. I'm going to be talking about the effects of social media on the family relationships. Social media is a good networking tool. It has its many sides, good sides, but it also has its downsides. It's distracting for students, to say the least. It distracts them a lot because you'll be so glued on your phone. You wake up, the first thing you want to do is touch your phone and check up on what you've missed over the night, and it distracts them a great deal. They won't do chores, they won't study their work, they won't study their books. And when it comes to relationship, social media has, for me, done a great deal of harm. It now makes you lose trust. Normally your relationship, your partner could tell you, I'm here, but you'd want to do video call, you want to verify, you'd want to check up on status. For me, it's so the trouble is too much. It's distracting, it's a whole lot. Thank you. Okay, productivity. Social media has helped business owners showcase their business. I hear people say my store is my phone, WhatsApp, Instagram, my shop number is my number. Okay, so it has really helped people, spread their business, expand their business, have more sales. It all started during the COVID-19 era. Yeah, so because we couldn't go out, people started looking for other ways to shop and sell, buy and sell, and it really helped then a lot. So yeah, it has the good sides, it has the bad sides. People are now so attached to their phones, they don't do anything else, and it causes a lot of problems, even health problems. Your eyesight, you now be too attached to the blue rays. You have a lot of stress-related issues from not sleeping properly, not sleeping on time. So yeah, it does a whole lot.
Let me speak from my own perspective. I have a family and I have grown-up kids. They're no longer kids anyway, because once you're above 18, you're no longer a child. So I want to talk about the negative aspect of it. internet use has brought has created distance between the families. You find out that it's in the evening where everybody go out, you come back in the evening to sit, and discuss as a family. You don't get that anymore, because as everybody comes back, we resort to our phones. We're checking our messages, we are checking this in. There's no more time for you to come back and discuss like family, the way we used to have it in those days, where when your father comes back or your mother comes back, you come together, everybody will give their report. Now sometimes you call your children, come and what's going on here? They will, I'll come back later. They will talk to you later, because that is what the internet has brought. It has its advantages as well, because it's there for easy communication as well, but it has like created a wall between the relationship of parents to children, and it has also sometimes, because the parents can't even regulate what they are doing there, we don't even know what they are doing there, so you can't even stop what the vices that they pick from the internet. So it's quite the advantages, I won't say it outweighs the advantages, but you can actually for close that gap if we make conscious effort to ensure that our children read and encourage them to read books instead of sitting on their phones.
Well, welcome back. I'm sure you enjoyed about 14-15 minutes of that interview. I will have three gentlemen there. Well, in the media, everybody's a gentleman. That's what we do in the media. But I have Ian, best man here, to join me to discuss this lifestyle that is common among young people. Yene is a very young person. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Austin will join us later, but right now we have Ian here in the studio. And of course, internet became active in Nigeria in 1996. Very active in 98. And of course, over time, the advantages are varied, because we are now in the information age, right? And it has become a popular, it has gained popularity among the young people. It's meant for e-business, e-commerce, all manner of interaction. Nigeria before now was talking about e-governance, that governance using the electronic means in all aspects of our lifestyle. Well, that's the advantage, and it has been working in that direction. But what is new and what is news, what is trending now, is the fact that there's an aberration from what the intention was desired from the beginning. The original intention seemed to be defeated, even though it is still there. But the aberration is that the internet seems to have created a lot of gulf between families and between relationships, and a lot of things are happening. People now seem to have lost their humanity because they have the phone. At every gathering, you see people looking at their phone rather than asking questions and talking. In fact, people keep their call cards in their pockets. Ordinarily, when you go out, you are supposed to network, give out call cards to people. But what do you see? People reading their phones. Even the church, everywhere, and it has become a big distraction, even in productivity and all that. I'm sure you have something to say on that.
Yes, I have a lot to say. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah. You see, when we want to talk about the internet, the main aim of internet was to promote a lot. It has advantage and disadvantages. The advantage is that internet has brought, should I say, a kind of global connection between people, not just people. It has brought a connection between countries and communities. But as it is now, the disadvantage of internet, it has brought a bridge between families. You go to families and see people, they don't have this, what they call moments, family moments. They don't spend their time together. All what you see is people on the phone. Even when it gets to the dining, people are always on the phone, pressing their phone, doing one thing or the other. So that has really brought a gap between families and friends. And talking about business, yes, internet has done a whole lot, like advantage in terms of promoting, helping promote people's business and creating an avenue for people to get to know your kind of business, and it has introduced a lot of businesses to people.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, internet has created
A lot of criminality in the internet, fraud.
Yes.
People are being duped.
People are
Some
being
businesses
duped.
are run down. These are the negative lifestyle that were not intended at the beginning.
Yeah.
When internet brought a lot of prosperity and you know, a change in lifestyle to many people in this country. Is it Nigerian factor that is affecting? I know that you still have a lot of negatives in internet use with social media across the globe. But we have some peculiarities in the kind of criminality and fraud we are seeing, and the issue of separation of relationships and all that. Go ahead.
Yes, we've seen a lot of separations in families.
And then you're talking about business, how it's affecting business negatively.
Yeah, it has affected business negatively in the terms that, okay, you go, most times you go online and you see cases of fraud. You see somebody using a particular name, like this is my business, but he's using it to defraud people. Initially, that was not the idea of internet, but now people are using it for a whole lot of things. And when you talk about separation of families, like I said earlier, people don't have, or family members don't have moments for themselves. All they do is they're always on their phone. Husbands don't spend time with their wives. They don't spend time with their children. All they do is always on their phone, and maybe once you try to draw their attention to it, it begins to create problems in the family.
Yes. One aspect of internet use in Nigeria that most people are talking about, but I know it's not peculiar to Nigeria, but it has become very common. The social media madness. That's what many people call it. It has created a lot of, we talk about fake news, we talk about, you know, some kind of indifference and insensitivity. Recently something happened, and I saw people not doing what they are used to doing. If somebody wants to jump into the river, want to commit suicide, all what we see is somebody trying to capture it without any action. That seems to be some level of loss of humanity. We see things happening. A man was recently mowed down by assassins. And rather than people gather around to help, they were busy taking pictures and posting on the internet. So there's some kind of loss of humanity.
That's
and
true.
Insensitive disposition by phone users, and it's very common among young people. The youth are the hallmark of any society. That is a demographic that people rely on to grow any society. But unfortunately, there is this kind of indifference and loss of humanity among young people. When things go wrong, all they do is take pictures. When things go wrong, all they do is take pictures and flash on the internet. You're a young person. What do you think goes on in the mind of young people when this happens?
Okay, coming to that, what goes on in their mind is, as it is now, everybody wants to be famous in one way or the other. They just want to make this name and make their money. So instead of thinking about the first thing, which is humanity, they prefer fame. Like you said earlier, internet madness is just for the fame. They want to, I have content according to their context. They call it content. You want likes and followers, but forgetting the original creation of the intentions. So people are more about what they get from the internet, not about the main advantage where internet was created. So what goes on in their mind is, if I post something like somebody is trying to jump off a bridge, I'll have so many followers, or I'll have so many comments, and a lot of people are making money from all those contents.
What you call content sometimes are pornography, some kind of obscenity, some types of aberrations that are anti-society values, sometimes some kind of contents that don't have value to society.
It doesn't.
You know, so you begin to call them contents, and that's one problem that we have in our society today. What young people call content is what others would call, well, some kind of loss of value, really.
Yes, that's true.
So why do you call such things content?
According to the social media, they call it, that's the name for it, content. Everybody wants to have something to show to the public so that they can make their own.
Is it for pecuniary purpose, or for fame, or for what purpose?
It's for fame. It's actually for fame.
There's some do it for money. They say when they have 1 million likes, Google will give them money.
Yes, the popularity is there, which is the fame.
Okay.
So the number one thing is the fame. I saw somebody, I want to follow this person. That's the fame. And the fame comes, then the next thing that follows is the money, because without the fame, the internet you will not be paid.
Okay.
So they need the fame first for the money to come. Yes.
Very recently, I saw some good stories, something good about internet use. People not being carried away. That insensitivity was not demonstrated recently in Lagos when Farida Abdul Karim attempted to jump into the bridge because of marital woes, right?
Okay.
Marriage broke down. The Lagos socialite wanted to take her life, despite the fact that she had children, because her marriage of 2 months didn't last. She spent about 100 million for that wedding, and the wedding seemed to have crashed, and so she wanted to take her life. Now, for the first time, I saw people being active. That is exemplary of what Nigerians expect, from society, because we're supposed to be our brothers' what?
Keepers.
Now, they took pictures. They're not just only taking pictures, they also restrained her for dropping into the bridge, falling into the lagoon. That was one important development that I saw. That indifferent disposition among Nigerians for that penchant, for just taking pictures and uploading to have 1 million likes and to use it as so-called content was not there. But it was there, but it was used in the right purpose.
Yes, it was used in the right purpose.
Yes.
So I've seen cases like that also, where the social media is used for the right purpose. Like you said, Farida Abdul Karim. Yes, people do that a lot.
They took the pictures,
yes,
and still restrained her.
Yes, some people have that sense of humor. When they see something bad, they try to
capture it.
Yes, they try to capture it, not just capturing it, but they try to talk the person down from doing a particular thing. I've also seen a case of this lady was kidnapped and she was sharing her location. That was, I think, that should be 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was in Akwa Ibom State. She was kidnapped and she shared her location with her friend. So it was the friend now that took it to Twitter. And before you know it, the whole story was everywhere. Find that they were trying to look for her.
Yeah.
That is also a good example of the advantage of social media. So we still have good people out there who use social media for a good or
for good use.
For good use.
We're not saying that it doesn't have a good use. We're saying that it had a purpose. From 1998, 96, 98 to present day, it has helped us for what Nigerians call e-governance, and a lot is being done. The internet has brought the world together into a global village. Yes, but what is news is what we are discussing, because on this program we discuss news.
Yes.
What is news is that there's an aberration, wrong use. For example, in schools, that is one thing that people are talking about. In education, for example, internet use has helped for distant learning and all that.
Yes, it does.
Before, people used to package books, package learning materials, in parcels, and delivered by post, night post to various homes, those who did distant learning. Some people even did, growing up, I used to see a lot of those stuff in our cupboard. And my father was using some London GCE and London stuff, accountancy program from UK and all that. Those stuff were mailed and parceled down to Nigeria. A lot of people read online through such distant learning approach, and it was cumbersome. But today the internet has made it easy. Distant learning, open universities and all that. You can learn at home with ease. You can get a degree with your laptop and all that. That is good. But the other aspect, many people seem to have seen Facebook, for example, and Twitter, Instagram as the beginning and end of life. You saw some people spend about 14 hours, 10 hours on their phone, instead of facing their book, as my mother would say, they are facing book. You understand? You know the difference now?
I know
instead
the
of
difference.
facing their book, they are facing book. You know, I was happy. Yes, if a young girl came to my office as an intern, and she told me that in their school they don't use phones, and that's why in that school most of them make first class, and they do very well. The only time you interface with internet is when you go to the e-library and you do your research and you come back. You do all the research you need. You don't carry phones into your hostels, you don't carry phone about, you don't carry phone on the in the school, you don't carry phones within the classroom and all that. And so they concentrate on their learning. But these days somebody will be on social media. Just keep your phone on and watch and watch what your friends are doing. They are commenting on a particular issue, and that goes on hour on ends. You know, so you begin to wonder, has Facebook, for example, brought something good for the young people in the universities and those outside the universities?
Sincerely speaking, I think Facebook has done that. Facebook has done that in the sense that to some extent people get to share ideas on Facebook.
Yeah. But the idea of distraction, the issue of distraction.
Sometimes it's not idea of distraction.
The issue of distraction.
Okay, in terms
it's a
of
big issue. That's the news. Because in every story we look at what is new and what is different, as it were. And what is new or different in use of Facebook is the idea of distraction. That's why we're talking about it. We're not here to talk about advantage of Facebook.
it has caused a lot of distractions.
Exactly.
Sincerely, it has, because people go online. Personally, I do it.
Many people are not reading their books.
I do it
Many
sometimes.
people fail because they are concentrating more on Facebook. They are facing book instead of
You're facing book because you want to know. You want to know what is happening in the
and
social
then you forget to read
media
your
world.
book.
But most
That
times,
is the point. So it's a problem with you young people. I think that's the much we can take now.
Yes.
We'll bring in Austin to continue with the entertainment segment of this show. Don't get away. You're welcome back. Austin Okolo is here in the studio. Without wasting much time, I introduce you. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, I think he's an entertainment entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Right to put it that way. Yeah, you are the guys that use social media so much.
Yes,
but you do a lot of events, right?
yeah, live video production.
Live video productions and all that, and online transactions.
Yes, lots.
Okay, so Now, so what's your take on that? Let's knock off that internet stuff before we go to the next story.
Okay. Internet is a very big space.
Big space, yeah.
It has helped and it has destroyed so many things. It has helped businesses to grow. It has helped organizations to move their businesses from one place to another. I'll give you an instance. When I walk into this place, I knew about Atlantic television for a while now, but I've never taken my time to go and go and see what's and what. So sitting down waiting for my cue.
You were watching us live.
Yeah, in the space of in the space of 5 minutes, I was able to get a whole rundown about everything that is happening here. Yeah. And I must say it's amazing work that is happening here. So internet has actually helped a lot of
in connectivity. For example, you're watching us live now on Atlantic Television Network. Live, on your phone, on your Facebook. These are some of the advantages.
Yes.
We were talking about the aberrations. That's what we were talking about. Now let's look at this story. Mr. I will sue NDLA if Naira Marley smokes again. Okowa's aide, Mr. Osai Ovie's success, an aide to former Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, has vowed to take legal action against the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency if Nigerian music star Afeez Fashola, aka Naira Marley, is seen smoking again after his visit to the agency. Naira Marley declares support for the agency's war against drug abuse during the week among the youths, teenagers, followers, and Malians. I know those they call Malians. Maybe Austin will tell me what that means. During a visit to the executive chairman, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, at the national headquarters in Abuja, Marley said he had keyed into the campaign to stop drugs on the street. The agency's choice of Naira Marley has since sparked reactions from social media users. They have been very busy. People have stopped whatever they were doing and talking about Naira Marley anywhere in the streets. That's what you hear. Now, so that's the story. Naira Marley's escapades is known for by everybody. And his joining the campaign is something that a lot of people have been clamoring for. Somebody was talking about beer. Why is it that when you advertise beer, any of the alcoholic beverages, you don't use drunkards who are falling into gutter to advertise it?
Yes.
People ask that question. So Naira Marley has demonstrated that you can use an addict or somebody who is seriously involved in public demonstration of this lifestyle to stop it. So what's your take on that, sir?
Yeah, when the news of Naira Marley broke out to be the person that is going to be advocating for non-use of drug, so everybody shouted. Internet is a space that they never forget. Whatever you have been doing in the past, you think nobody is paying attention until they call you to do something. That's why they'll start bringing your report card and be showing you and be showing everything. So that is the case of Naira Marley. But there is a context to this that people don't understand. To get that when it comes to stuff like this, to get the result, the direction which the NDLA went to was the right direction, using somebody that people know as a drug addict. I'm just saying, I know that.
Yeah, but Okowa says. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm not.
Unquote, yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
He has demonstrated
openly because he smoke on set, he smoke and post on his social media. So people felt this guy, and it's kind of songs. So that direction was, I see it as a strategy to push the campaign in the right direction, and that is what entertainment is all about.
Yes.
Using the right tools to promote,
promote a value.
Yeah, a value. So that is the essence they brought Naira Marley, and I don't see, for me personally, I don't see anything wrong using Naira Marley for that purpose. That's what I have to say.
And Tonto Dike recently, I think that would have been the next story, but another story is key in there.
Okay.
Tonto Dike recently also blasted NDLA for bringing Naira Marley, not just Okowa's aid. Tonto Dike said it was wrong to use Naira Marley for that purpose, because he is a known deviant when it comes to drug-related issues. Yes.
So Tonto Dike is somebody that is always loud. She's always loud. It's always the they say left, she will go right, so that so. But her own perspective,
concern,
her own perspective is that Naira Marley is not the right person because he portray what you guys are trying to. If you are driving and they find any of this substance, even as even as small as a cigarette, they find in your cabinet, as they find it, they will ransack the whole car because they believe that if you smoke cigarette, there are other substances that you take. So when Naira Marley is always on, always on this thing, and Tonto Dike is trying to say, okay, this is it. How will you use somebody that is always smoking on set, smoking on the internet to use for that? Is her own.
No, but let me say something.
Yeah.
When you look at the demographics of those who are involved in drug addiction and drug abuse, substance abuse. Let me use substance abuse because not only drugs. You find those in the entertainment industry so involved. Of course, Fela seemed to have brought that to high recognition. Yeah. Because Fela used to smoke on set and all that. So we've seen that. Another group of persons are those in security and all that. Why do you think that those, because NDLA was right to have taken this campaign more to the entertainment industry. Yes. And then, of course, the youths constitute a large population of those entertainment. Yes. So why do you, people in your constituency get so addicted to substance abuse?
Yeah. The substance abuse in the entertainment industry is becoming like something that anybody that's up there had to do. It's just like a perception. You said something about Fela being the pioneer. When
I'm not saying one of the most known.
Let me not use the word pioneer. Let me not look at it. Fela is a great man. So let's not.
It was one of those seen with that.
Yeah, it's one of those seen with that. Like Fela was one person that he doesn't care. He does it anywhere. So when this guy came into the scene, and it's not even only Fela. When you talk about the outside Nigeria, Snoop Doggy Dogg is one person that smoke on set too. One person that, so when these guys that are up there and the ones that are coming behind them saw them do it, so it becomes like, oh, this thing is like.
And it destroyed a lot of them. The man who sang "Send Down the Rain," what's that his name again?
It's not Raskimono.
No.
Okay. Send that.
Majek Fashek.
Sorry.
He was destroyed by the drugs.
Yeah. So, but some of them are still successful.
Yes.
Fela is successful, even with the drugs. Yeah. Fela is a success
story.
He
was a success story.
It was a success story.
He's still a living legend.
Living legend. So
there are a lot of. When you use the present tense, this is you're right.
So I still believe Fela relevancy. I don't want to start using past tense because people are still aspiring to be like Fela. Him, So and a lot of people that we don't even see do it are into this. So they believe the inspiration comes from this thing, this substance that they take. Because some of them actually, this substance are something that enhance.
Is it part of their brand? That's the question. Because now you see your lifestyle hairstyle. You have seen pastors do this in America and all that.
Yes.
So it's not about you look responsible, you look tidy. But the problem is that people do this and scatter the Bob Marley way and still take some opium.
Yeah,
must that be a brand for entertainment?
For substance, yes. I don't think
it should be part of a brand.
It's not a part of a brand.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm of opinion that everything should be done decently. So if you are doing anything that is part of a brand and people don't see it as a good example, it should not.
It destroys your brand.
Destroys the brand.
Good.
But it's just that the substance, the drug, and everything is part of this entertainment that you can actually pull out.
Exactly.
Because you can't pull out because these guys, most of us in this industry, I want to say something that we have whole lot of pressure. There's a whole lot of pressure.
So it's an opiate, an escape route.
Yeah, an escape route that you I don't do drugs.
Usually, I know.
Yeah, I don't do drugs.
No, you don't look like you do it.
No, I don't do drugs. I don't do substance. But it's just that when somebody is pressurized, they want something that will just take them off.
You take a cup of whiskey.
Yeah.
Because even in broadcasting, we have the same challenge.
Yes.
Those days in Radio Rivers, the pioneer radio station, FM station around this part of the world, a lot of people believe that if you don't take a cup of whiskey, you shouldn't go on the microphone. Yeah. But do you know what I take when I go there? I take water.
So what works for somebody?
Exactly.
Somebody like
so it mustn't be.
Yeah.
You must not be influenced by an opiate.
Somebody like me, I don't take anything to go on set or to do anything.
Exactly.
Like me,
I'm
more of the production.
You're a producer.
So I'm a producer. I see all of them. I work with almost.
You see them and they come back.
I see all of them, and you can't actually pull them off these things because it's something that it's an escape. Like what you say, it's an escape
route.
It's an escape route from them. Yeah.
So how do you moderate the excesses during production? Because when they are there that high, they must have some level of excesses.
Yes, some of them when they are on this thing, they perform at the optimum. Like
they perform well.
Very exceptional. Like some of them, if they are not even on these drugs,
they drop.
Yeah, there's that. So sometimes you even encourage my guy. If like say,
go take something.
Go back, go run and 1 or 2 come back. So because we want result, but the thing is that it's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing.
You can't be.
And so NDLE should come to people like you to start a campaign to stop drugs because it can destroy society. Now let's look at the next story.
Okay.
Drug is bad. I think I joined NDLE in this campaign, and stopping it is a proactive agenda. That's what it should be.
Yes.
Rehabilitation should be the last resort. Now let's look at this story. World Hilda inspires young Nigerians at Adolescent Youth Health Conference. Guinness World Record holder and youth empowerment advocate Hilda Bachi has inspired young Nigerians at the 3rd Nigerian Conference on Adolescent and Youth Health Development. The conference held in Lagos was put together by the Society for Adolescent and Young Person Health in Nigeria. The event brought together experts, advocates, and leaders of thought to address critical issues surrounding adolescent and youth health, themed Achieving 2030 Targets, Driving Innovation for Adolescent and Youth Health. The conference focused on adolescent sexual and reproductive health, rights, and other issues relating to development. Experts also profiled interventions and solutions to address adolescent and youth health challenges. Bachi, one of the speakers at the conference, shared insights and strategies to promote the well-being and empowerment of young individuals. She reiterated the importance of good health as a cursor to building a great life. Yeah, we're talking about mentoring, because one thing about the so-called world celebrity, I've always quarreled with that word celebrity, the way it's used in Nigeria.
Yeah, yes.
Somebody goes on air with a broken head and raises his hand up and somersaults, and it's called a celebrity.
Yes.
So what's he celebrating? A celebrity is somebody who is celebrated for something that is tangible, doing something that is famous. You are a producer, and because you do it well, those who know you regard you as a celebrity. Even an ebole, somebody who roasts bole and does it so extensively and so known, and has done it so profitably and in a wide manner, reaching a wider population, is a celebrity.
Yes.
So these days, anybody who comes on social media and waves his head is a celebrity. So, and then sometimes the so-called celebrity give wrong examples. They are not role models. I think a celebrity should be a role model, and that's exactly what Hilda Bachi is trying to demonstrate in trying to mentor the young ones in this conference. And we want to see a lot of young people, those who are celebrated for doing one good thing or the other in the entertainment industry and so on and so forth, come together like this, brainstorm, and bring out ideas and values that can mentor the upcoming population. I'm sure you share that view.
Yes. So, the Hilda Bassi's story doing this is
it's inspiring. It's inspiring younger Nigerians.
Hilda Bassi is one person that I know she's intentional. What I mean is deliberate.
Yeah.
When she came up with the idea of Cookathon, I don't know the team she put together. I think that was one of the most fantastic thing she has ever done in her entire life, because her lifestyle.
And we have seen among young people recent
time, and the lifestyle she portrayed before that cookathon is similar to Naira Marley.
Okay.
You know, she is a type that is a more like, let me not call it a nude model. When I mean nude, is a dress sense. It's more like
they're not like Naira Marley.
Naira
Marley is a crazy lot.
So what I'm saying that either about say, when you now say a role model, when you know in the context of a role model, it's supposed to be somebody like is decent.
No, she has started dressing recently. But the modeling, what she's modeling there, is not just her dressing, her fashion. She's modeling hard work, innovativeness, and so she's right to be one of those that should be talking in that conference.
Yeah, she's the right person. Like right now, the best person for this is Dabashi, because she has actually proven everybody wrong that anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. If I can do it, if people believe I couldn't do it, I can do it. You can do it. So you're about being the what inspiring the young Nigerians.
One of the resource person in that.
So it's commendable that she is the right person. I think it's the right direction.
Yes, I think that we should be looking at situation whereby the entertainment industry, Nollywood is an organized lot, and P-Man, is it what do you call P-Man?
Yes, P-Man.
Yeah, P-Man is for the music.
Yeah.
So we want to see a situation whereby these groups should be holding talk shops to conscientize Nigerians over certain things, aberrations, especially deviant behavior pattern, like Naira Marley wants to do, and to the case say no, like in this story, he slaps NDLE, say don't do that. I think that she should learn the other way around, and to see that we should see these groups coming together to hold conferences, become intellectually obsessed, as it were, hold conferences, hold talk shops to mentor young ones, to also mentor them in the act of their vocation. Because we don't see more of that, because the entertainment world is creating job. We want to see Nollywood doing the same thing. Do you have such in your offing?
Yes, we have a lot.
The producers belong to P-Man?
No,
you have your own group?
No, we have our own. So in the I want to say in the ecosystem, in Port Harcourt ecosystem, because where I reside right now is Port Harcourt, Rivers State. There's a lot of, like, as I'm talking to you right now, from yesterday to today, there's a conference going on. We call it Kebabas Youth Convention. It's a conference that is put together for young people to come sit down, listen, and get educated about everything that we're actually talking about.
Don't mention dates, because mention date you pay.
No, I'm not going to.
That would be advertising.
What I'm saying that this thing is deliberately put together, like what P-Man is supposed to be doing, what NDLA is trying to do
and what Nollywood should be doing.
What Nollywood should be doing, because this one I'm talking about is even put together by just people like us. Producers, people, somebody that is an entertainer. So this is supposed to be taken up by reputable organization like what.
So what do you intend to achieve particularly in this case?
The same thing.
What's your focus? Let me get your thing.
The focus is basically entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship
in the musical industry.
In the music
and others.
And every other thing. So these things are supposed to be done by this big organization, because they has the command, they have the audience that if you say, okay, this is what I'm going to put together, the publicity will, the cost of publicity will be less, because you have the audience already. So it becomes together, but it's not being done. So that is one of the major issues I see in this case.
Because a lot of people, when we are growing up, if I tell you who was my mentor, or who is still my mentor, or my role model, I would say my mentor. My father was my mentor. I'm talking about role model. Who was my role model? I was looking at, in terms of professional preoccupation, I was looking at Wole Soyinka. And that propelled me into literary activities. And I'm happy that today at least I'm an author. So every young person looks forward to a role model. And so when you organize such events, they should be able to look through you and say, this man, Austin Okolo, He's a successful producer. I want to be like him. Do you have that at the back of your mind when you're doing it?
Very well. Very well. Intentionally.
Who inspired you? Who inspired you?
My inspiration in my own
In
industry,
your vocation,
in my vocation, it's not even the people in my industry. Yeah,
outside the industry. There's a creative person.
Yeah, it's a creative person. So
Okay.
my inspiration, it's because I'm more of an intentional businessman. Wherever I'm
Okay.
building, wherever I'm doing, I try to do it because I want
Business.
people to benefit.
Benefit,
Yeah, I
okay.
want people to. I want creators.
Profitability.
I want creators to benefit. So I try not to, because everybody in the entertainment industry is more like a single person. You hear of Naira Marley. I just want to mention. You hear of Tiwa Savage. You have Davido. You have Wizkid. They are more of one person. But the organization that is putting these people together, the people that are doing lots of the work.
Yes.
So that is my own perspective about all this. So I try not to become, even though I'm always, as I'm in front of the camera now,
Yes.
I try to be at the back most times to make sure things work.
Yeah,
and
producers
people-
always
yeah,
are behind the camera.
Yeah, to things work and people are sure. So I intentionally do it. I intentionally put out content, intentionally put out things so that people can actually see us and say, this is the person I want to be like. This is the person.
I met a producer recently. He's a very creative person. And I said, what made you to go into production rather than going to facing the microphone and the camera? He said, shy. That is, being a creative person, you could not conquer his shyness. In your own case, you're a very shy person.
I'm not. No.
So why did you choose to be a producer rather than being on the microphone?
I'm two ways. I'm
Okay,
a producer
okay.
and I'm also in front. Like right now I'm in front. So
You're in
they're
front,
producing me now. So the thing is that
You sing?
I don't sing.
Okay.
Since my production is more of live videos.
Okay, live
videos,
more
content
on live
creation,
video, content creation,
content
okay.
creation, and for content creators and the rest. So since my perspective is that, so but most times I need to be in front of the camera too. So because I want to also be somebody that people will look at and say, this is not just the guy that can tell you to do this. I also can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So recently I put out a show. People look at, you're not a comedian. I say, you've not seen anything yet.
Oh, are you not a comedian?
They're not like, you know, because I create contents I produce for comedians.
Yeah,
I create
exactly.
shows for comedians. So when I now put out
You write scripts too?
Yeah, when I
Okay.
now put out content, I now put out a show. I say I'm going to do a show. I put my flyer, bring my flyer, I put the date, put the time. Then I say, guy, you be comedian now. I say, okay, that is a good question.
Now, what is the job creation potential in your profession?
Yeah, the job creation potential, it's basically number one.
What is it like? You have a large population?
Yeah.
Because when you're in production, you must have guitarists, that's job.
Yeah.
Somebody trumpeter, you have artists and others. So what
Okay. Let me talk.
is it paying? And how many people is it paying?
You will tell me. You will tell me better. Because you are doing it in a larger scale.
Yes.
So it's paying. Like let's assume.
I'm talking in terms of number of percent.
Yeah.
Not,
Let's talk about a live. Let's talk about a particular production we do few weeks ago.
yeah.
It's actually an award ceremony for international company. I don't want to mention it because they have to come and pay you.
Yeah,
to-
copy.
So it's an award ceremony for an international organization. So they called us from US.
Yes.
Somebody referred us. No, we actually market them. They called us. So
yes.
say we can put this thing together for them. So they called us. So that particular production had up to. Let me not even mention the event planner and the rest. Just the production part had up to 30-something person on that production, from the cameraman, from the producer of the event, everything. So it's this in the industry, it's so lucrative that people are not even, because the back part which people don't see. The only part people see is the one that we are sitting here. They only see you, they only see me. The back part is where the real money is.
Okay.
Because that particular one, the cameraman is being paid, the light man is being paid, the man on the multimedia is being paid, the man on the mixer is being paid. Everybody is being paid, and it's
Multiply effect.
It's multiply effect.
And it's a production chain.
Yeah. Apart from that, when you go back to your offices, we don't have all these people in our offices. Like, we employ them because the numbers are so large. So some of them are outsourced. But the people now, if you go back to the office, we have almost 10 persons that in the office.
Your own office
yes.
now.
That in the office editing.
And in every production house in Port Harcourt,
yeah,
you have an average of 10%.
10%.
So you have a large population.
Yeah, you have
employment.
so a larger problem. So people are getting job from just this. People are getting, so it's a commendable.
And it's taking criminals off the street.
Criminal the street. Like personally,
those who would have been criminals. That's what I mean.
Personally, I employ people with potentials.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you identify potentials in people?
Identify potential.
If I come to your place now, how will you look at me? What do you think I can do well in your place?
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe you shall be a script writer.
I don't even employ. You don't even come and meet me for me to employ you first. We have to talk on phone.
Okay.
Yeah, before I employ anybody, we have to speak on phone.
Okay, after speaking on phone.
Yeah, after speaking of, I will be able to hear.
It's still appearing before you.
Yeah,
Okay, my voice.
I will be able to hear, and I will be able. Sometimes I do it.
If I use a falsetto, I can use a falsetto as we do on radio.
Okay.
Because if I talk on radio, it's not the same voice you're hearing now.
Okay.
Because on radio, I'll twist my face and use the voice I want on radio. But on TV, I won't do that.
Yeah, the advent of internet and make everything not for physical meeting anymore. So if I want to meet like 20 persons, I'm going to use my whole day to do it. I can just sit behind my phone, I'll open a Zoom, send the link to everybody that I want to talk to. You come online, I talk to you. So when I listen to you, the first thing I look is this person really ready to come in. Is he interested in the industry? Because if you don't take people that are interested in the industry, you're going to have an issue. That is a major issue you have. But so we don't take people based on okay, this person is exceptionally good.
No, they're trainable.
Yeah, it's trainable.
It's like in broadcasting when you come and we listen to you. Come to my office and you just spend 2 minutes talking with me. I'll know whether you're trainable or not.
It's trainable. Perfect. That is the yardstick.
The content in you and the voice quality, whether for radio or for TV.
Yeah.
If it is for TV, we're talking about photogeneity and the voice.
Yes.
The radio more of voice.
So it's similar.
Yes.
So it's similar. So that's the thing. So but the industry is actually giving jobs a lot.
I think the entertainment industry and the broadcast industry are quite related. When I grow up, I'd like to be like you. I'm talking about Austin Okolo. Well, thank you very much for being here today, and we're going to short break in the next. That's the time. We'll have hour, top of the hour. We're going to short break. When we come back, we take business and economy, and I'll be having a new guest. Stay tuned. Don't get away.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable
Welcome back. You just joined us. You are watching Atn Saturday on Atlantic Television Network here in Port Harcourt. Welcome back. And I have here in the studio, Barrister Adams is here in the studio to join me on from now till...
Good morning, sir.
10 p.m. 10 a.m. Sorry. Not p.m. 10 a.m.
Yes.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, this is the business and economy segment. You're welcome back. Now we'll take some stories. We don't have a feature today. CBN unveils price verification portal for forex dealings. In a bid to sanitize the foreign exchange market, the Central Bank of Nigeria has introduced a foreign exchange price verification system specifically designed for importers to have access to forex. The CBN disclosed this on Thursday night in a statement from its Trade and Exchange Department, adding that a price verification report from the portal was now mandatory from all M requests. The new measure takes effect from August 31st, 2023. The statement reads, unquote, following the successful conduct of the pilot run and various trainings held with all hands, the Central Bank of Nigeria hereby announces the go live of the price verification system. The system, that's the unquote, right?
Yes.
Now we'll be talking about a lot of things about central bank, their financial transactions, the issue of forex, the presidency when it came, when President Bola Tinubu came on power, he was talking about naira floating, in the abolition of the parallel market, and all that. These are still part of the reforms we are talking about. Several reforms have been announced, and we don't seem to be seeing the effect because, for example, we see here about forex parallel market and all that. What will be the effect of this new price verification portal?
This is going to be something that is going to activate, the economic, debilitation that we have in Nigeria, to take it out of the woods. That is my own opinion and analysis. Why I'm saying this is because of the fact that when you say price viewing portal and that you go there, you know exactly how they exchange naira for dollar or whatever pounds it is, as the case may be. Then you now buy. I don't really understand that.
That apply and buy?
Yes, apply and now buy. See, from what I have experienced, for those who are importing, yes, they can use the Form M for them to, apply for dollars from the normal official market, etc., as case may be. The biggest problem we have in Nigeria is the other parallel market they call it the black market. Exactly. Because that is, quite, unregulated, and as you want it, you have it as you want it. Even up till now that you say you have this portal to view etc., I'm very sure that the black market operators will not even participate in that.
No,
so which means it's something that is voodoo type to them, as the case may be. So I don't see any change, for the better, unless they prove us wrong. I'm just praying that Nigeria does not fall, within the scope of countries like Argentina, Venezuela, Ecuador, especially Zimbabwe, then India some time ago, where their CBN plunged them into economic doom, because of policies, of this nature. Recently, a similar thing happened. This price viewing portal happened in in Lebanon, and we all know what happened in Lebanon quite recently. Because the CBN had to plunge the national economy into serious doldrums. I hope the CBN does not do that further. What we want to know, what we want to see in Nigeria is that we want a CBN that will turn out policies, and the policies will begin to affect the people. It will be like oxygen that we breathe in. We feel it. We can touch it if possible. Then we can begin to realize. Let it come to realization. When you begin to do things in cosmetic forms and looking at the theoretical part without practicalization, it becomes voodoo type economics, as Wole Soyinka once described the kind of economics we practice in Africa, especially in Nigeria here. So I don't think it's going to make any impact, in my own opinion.
Well, I think that you are quite in order, and the several reforms and the policies that are coming out of central banks, we don't seem to see the results. Naira floating, but is it really floating or sinking?
Naira is sinking. Naira is doing acrobatics, and what I call the Naira calisthenics. You know, why am I using that word? Is that it's like a motion without movement. You know, doing a revolution of 360 every time, but nothing comes out of it. The Naira cannot, be reflated. The Naira will keep, devaluing itself if a lot of things are not put in place. You know, for instance, look at what is going on right now. You see, the demand for Naira, is so high. I don't know of any country, where its citizens, uses the dollar like that of Nigeria. The population of Nigeria is about 250 million, as we say. I believe about 100 million of that particular category, they need dollars, for their daily transactions in and outside Nigeria. Dollar currency is a worshipped, currency. Is a currency that is adored by Nigerians. If you see a Nigerian man, he wants to even exchange his Naira for him to have dollar in his pocket and flaunt it. Before, no matter how much, and flaunt it. So dollar has now become, a deity, economic deity, and the Nigerians pay obeisance, to dollars and dollarization wherever they go to. Now, when you patronize some hospitality industries, some hotels, etc., and you want to pay in dollars, you see everybody's eye will pop out and look at you and say he's a big man. So now that is where you find out that the Naira can never appreciate. It's going to take time until and unless, we put this thing. Say, let me tell you why the Naira is, going down the slide, the way it's been going. For instance, medical vacation that is done by Nigerians abroad, they need dollars. You go to importation, you need dollars. The one that is, beating me whole again is the school fees syndrome now. That every family in Nigeria now want to have one or two of their kids outside of this country to go and school. And if you're doing that schooling, whatever the case may be, you need to convert Naira to dollar for you to, do whatever you want to do. The fourth one that is given, I don't know how government, I think these are things the CBN and the government should be checkmating. Many Nigerians are selling their properties and converting it to dollars to travel out of Nigeria. The reverse ought to be the case. For you to bring in dollar into Nigeria and invest and build. But from what I've seen, I can comfortably tell you that the past 1 month, I have seen very close friends, close to 30 of them, who own properties in various parts of Nigeria, willing to convert, to sell those property and say, I want to convert them to dollar and go to Canada. I want to sell and convert to dollar and even go to UK or go to America, as case may be. So the Naira cannot appreciate in that kind of situation. So these are things that is bedeviling the Naira, and I believe the CBN has to tinker with some issues, economic issues that will make the Naira, float again, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Now, in line with what you're saying,
yes.
The next leg of our discussion has to do with the fact that the issue of parallel market doesn't seem to end.
Of course. It's like in Nigeria, the parallel market syndrome is like what they call bunkering. They say illegal bunkering. I don't know if there's a word. If there's a word like that. Illegal bunkering. So when you go out, you see bunkers. The government fight them.
Yes.
Every day government turn out laws. Every day government turn out operation this, that, this. But every day they steal our oil, etc. It's akin to what is happening in the industry, in the currency industry. I have asked this question. I have gone through, the laws that, extant laws, that, govern exchange of currencies in Nigeria here. That particular practice being done by those around presidential area is illegal. But the government pay a blind eye. And I found out something good or very negative and very not sweating again is that some government officials even patronize them when they need, bulk dollars, to buy. Because they say the banks, even though the CBN said they have liberalized, the flow of dollar to banks, etc. as the case may be, why they put together what they call the unitary system of dollar, whatever as case may be. It has not really worked because that black market, the Aboki syndrome, has not given it a space for that to breathe. That is the problem we're having. How do you tackle it? So when you say you are doing naira to show it up, and you are not tackling the issue of the naira market and the black market, it's just like pouring water into the basket. As the case,
because that was the first thing the president promised Nigeria.
Yes, that is.
And you're talking about banks.
Yes.
I hear that in some banks, when you come for forex, foreign exchange transactions, they say we don't have enough money. Wait, let's call our friends. They're calling our bookies.
They are calling our bookies.
And they will not come into the bank and give you the money.
I've done that before. I did that, some months ago.
Yes.
I needed some dollars, and a banker friend said, "Do not even go out. I will. You are going to make something happen. I will call on a book." He came to the bank premises, and he know what he did. He asked me, say, how much? I said, this XYZ I want to change to dollar. It's okay to naira. I said, okay, look, give me your account or wherever you want that to be sent to. Immediately I gave him the account. If he wired, he transferred the equivalent, to my account. Another accounts I want the money to go to. I gave him the. So I was now wondering. I was bewildered, maniacally bewildered. I was asking myself, what kind of voodoo type system we operate in Nigeria here? So and I have found that a particular ethnic stock is so engrossed in this, and they have become like the untouchables. You understand the point? They have become like what they call the sacred cow of India. You understand? So these are the things that in fact, no government has been able to checkmate or maybe deal with this situation the way Nigerians want it to be dealt with. Believe you me, if that particular black market can be sanitized, within 24 hours, I tell you that the naira will reflect itself, because we have to conditional ourselves. All the money they exchange around that presidential whatever should go through the banking system. As the case may be, directly exchange, pay, and get whatever you want. But it's not the case as the case may be. It's so unfortunate.
We have an economy where you have more money in circulation than in the banks.
Yes.
And that was what led to that cash
mop
up that time. And that doesn't seem to have succeeded. Over time, you see central bank talking from two sides of the mouth and nothing is happening. So if you have a forex market that's not properly regulated, then that's a problem. Let's see whether this price verification portal for forex dealings will be part of that sanitization.
I pray so.
Recently, we've had federal government mopping up airports and ridding them of illegal forex.
I pray so.
But they have not been able to rid the streets of those.
It's like the Colombian, cocaine cartel.
Exactly.
Yes, that is the situation.
And because a lot of big people are involved, when you look at their bookies on the street, calling to come and buy dollar, I think they are the source. What was their source of income? So the black market is something that is done by a very big cartel. And,
yes.
And even though they seem to have been pushed out of some airports, they are still there.
They are still around
in our streets. It's unfortunate. I think that. But that's Barrister Simi Adams. Let's go to the next story. Some economic experts have urged the federal government to engage the executives of multinational companies in the country to understand their problems and offer solutions. The economists who spoke with newsmen disclosed this following the shutting down of the operations of Nigeria by British pharmaceutical giant GlaxoSmithKline Consumer PLC. The managing director and chief economist, analyst, data services and resources, Afrolabi Oluokere of GSK, presented the federal government and other relevant stakeholders an opportunity to take a closer look at the manufacturing sector. He said, we may have a reduction in manufacturing if at all they were manufacturing before. There's even doubt. It is where we need to do a more critical analysis on them. Many companies that we call manufacturing companies, are they really manufacturing? What percentage of what they are selling is actually producing in Nigeria, or are they mere marketing companies or manufacturing companies somewhere else? To me, that is a critical issue. Well, GSK matter has been on over time.
Yes.
It's a running story. and we're still commenting. We ran commentary on this program, and because of this, the economist there is saying that federal government should begin to interface with multinational organizations to avoid a recurrence of what happened with GSK folding up in Nigeria.
Yes, for me, I think it's a valid argument, even though I don't, agree, wholesomely with everything they have said.
Yes.
But I believe it's a valid.
Asked so much questions.
Yeah, so much questions. So I believe it's a valid, argument from his side. That young man is, because a government ought to be when an economy is not manufacturing, the economy will go into limbo, and the whole processing will be distended. So any country that takes over that don't want to grow will abandon manufacturing industry, as the case may be. And when it's suggested that we have to ask the multinationals and whatever to come and say how they operate etc., I believe it's something they ought to be doing, constantly. Because somebody who leaves a place and comes to this country environment to come and begin to do something should be encouraged so that more people will come. Because manufacturing industry, provide employment, if not 30%, at least 20% of it, people will be employed in Nigeria here, as the case may be. The last leg of his argument is that, is there manufacturing industry in Nigeria, or are they manufacturing things we use in Nigeria here? I agree with him on that particular point. You see, most of the known manufacturing industries we know in those days, in the tire industry, in the rubber industry, in the ceiling fan industry, the textile industries, automobile. I don't want to be calling their names, but Nigerians know what I'm talking about.
Import substitution was the other.
That's right. So you find out that I don't even know where they are located right now. I passed through some of them. I see their compound or their industry or where they were. No activity there. Grass is growing up all over the place, all over the country. I was wondering. I said, what is exactly going on? I went through the whole of Transamadi the other day. I couldn't find, up to about 5, manufacturing industries. I would say these are products that are being manufactured here. What has happened is that they import and use as warehouses now. If you go into the property market right now, they say you have warehouses in Transamadi. If you go to Lagos, the same situation that you have in Ikeja, Agidingbe axis, as the case may be. Most of the industries that were manufacturing before have been turned to warehouses. Warehouses to receive imported goods, especially furniture, etc., as the case may be. In those days, I remember that the Benin furniture was one of the best, around West Africa and even in Africa. I remember that when I was in Benin, there were people who were coming all the way from Morocco, coming all the way from Algeria, to come and purchase furniture from a particular company. I don't know if that company is still in existence today.
You are getting raw materials from Sapele?
From Sapele and the rest. They were doing all these things, so I don't know if there's I don't know exactly what is going on. Look at the rubber industry in my area too. I remember those days. You see, foreigners will come. They have what they call farm camps all over the place. They were taking rubber out of this go and manufacture tires in Nigeria here that we are using.
In Port
Harcourt. Even those who manufacture air conditioner fan, it is a new climb. That's what they call new climb. I don't know where they are right now. So these are things. I don't know how these things, got down like this. So if we can revive them, like as I admonished, I think it will be better for us so that we can take Nigeria out of this petro state, to an economy that is vibrant, that is multifaceted. That is the only way we can grow and grow our economy, grow our naira reflate. A country that does not manufacture, your currency will keep being devalued. There's no magic about it, because and the reason why the naira is floating this way it is because we don't manufacture here in Nigeria, or more or less very little that has been done in Nigeria in terms of manufacturing of goods and whatever as the case may be.
Well, that one came out of that issue of direct foreign investment.
Yes.
And then the issue of creating the right environment. Ease of doing business. Mm-hmm. What's your comment on these two? There's a relationship.
There's a relationship. You see, the direct foreign investment, what does that mean is that investment coming from outside that will come into the economy and directly affect the economic activities of Nigeria. If you look at what is going on, for instance, let me give you a very good example, even though I'll digress a little. Now, if you go to the diaspora fundings that used to come into Nigeria, before now, every time many of us were going to Western Union to go and collect, Many of us will go to these transfer, companies from abroad to go and collect dollars sent to us by our relations all over the world. But go to the banks right now. You scarcely see people, say they want to do that Western, as the case may be. Now, I interacted with someone, of course, say, look, they are so scared, even they are from Nigeria, that it's even very difficult now. For instance, when they send money down to Nigeria here, some of their relations will embezzle the money. They will not do the whatever because of hardship. Now, if you send somebody about 1 million naira to help you build, maybe a small bungalow, wherever as the case may be in Nigeria here, because of hunger, if you are not very careful, you might, tinker with that money and you eat it or whatever as you use want to eat the money as the case in Nigeria here. So most of them are scared. That is number one. Two, most of them are telling me that they are not sure of this Nigeria's political future. That they believe that this election petition tribunal court something, that the judgment, if they give the judgment in any which way it is, that the three parties will not agree. If the judgment favors party A, it will jubilate. The party B and C might create chaos and problems. So they are waiting for the tribunal to dispense and discharge their duties and judgment for them to now know whether there's stability in the political arena as the case may be. Same with those who are not from Nigeria here. Many foreign people want to put those their investment into Nigeria here through that FDI. Is that they have people who analyze for them and say, what is the economic whatever implication if I put $1 here in Nigeria here? Exactly. Can I gain it back in about even 1 year or the about? Two, is there political stability in Nigeria as the case may be? Is there security? If I bring in about $1 billion, will I be safe if I want to say, let me monitor my business physically in Lagos or Port Harcourt anywhere? Is there security implication? It is as the case may be. The other fifth one is that how do I go about taxes? Will there not be double taxation as the case may be? What are the processes for me to get, for instance, I need a Form M or I need a Form D that I used to do some transactions to send money out to my country. What are the processes? Or I want to register a conglomerate like a subsidiary or a group of companies in Nigeria now, one I believe to flourish. What are the antecedent and precedent of the Corporate Affairs Commission? These are things they look into, and I'm saying with due respect, very, very, very many, consultants are going to look at these things, and they are going to give almost a negative report to those who want to bring their invest in Nigeria directly. These are things.
Yes, some companies are going to complain about remittances.
Yes,
that is remitting the reliance on the dollar and all that, remitting their money abroad, and most importantly, corruption.
That's right.
When we talk of ease of doing business, the image of Nigeria is a very corrupt country. Yeah, influencing that parameter.
Oh, of course. Why would that affect us? When if you look at, I was listening to, I was watching a foreign television the other day. Yes. Those who were found guilty of some corrupt whatever, within 3 weeks they were tried, and those found guilty were sent to prison to mop up the system as gets made, to give confidence to those. Second one is that look at the former president of the US. You can see what is going on, yes, rightly or wrongly. He is being tried for whatever offense they feel he has committed, as case may be. But in Nigeria here, if you watch our television, they'll tell you that the EFCC arrested one ex-minister, as the case may be. Then the following week, you are seeing the minister walking up and down, going to political rallies, and even meeting the president. So it beats me whole when I see those kind of things happening. It means that we are not serious with that tackling corruption, as the case may be.
Corruption that's in government circle. There's corruption in the broader society.
Of course.
The Yahoo, people defrauding foreign investors and all that.
Absolutely.
That seems to also.
Yahoo is one of the biggest, albatross, that we have on our necks, and the yoke we have on our necks. You see, this thing has been going on for decades. I'm so surprised that up till about now, it has not. I'm not saying it can or it should be eliminated completely. I know it's difficult to eliminate crime of that nature, but it should be, kind of, reduced to the barest minimum, as the case may be. Instead of, going down geometrically, it is rising, geometrically again, because you find that every nook and crannies of Nigeria today, police arrest, EFCC arrest. Young boys are doing what, as they call it, they are pressing. They are pressing. That's the word they use. They say it's pressing. It means that they are trying to see how they can defraud those outside Nigeria and even within Nigeria.
An impression that they have an investment
here. So that is something. You see, most people. A client once told me, said, I'm from Jamaica. I came to Nigeria. Why I came here was that I got some people who told me that they are from Nigeria, but I never believed them. I said, let me come to Nigeria and see it for myself before I can put a penny into that particular transaction. He had to engage a lawyer, and what I made is I found that they were genuine people. I now asked him. So he said, I wouldn't have spent my money traveling, paying air tickets, hotel etc, coming here if I had that confidence in these people where I am in America there. I would have just done my business. But you see, that is giving Nigeria a very bad image, as the case may be. So I don't know how the FCC and the government will tackle it, because we have to tackle it so that investors will have confidence in the country and the economy.
And when you look at investment, like I was talking about, even the so-called manufacturing, that was why we asked that question, even if at all they are
manufacturing, yes.
Sometimes what we call manufacturing in Nigeria is import substitution.
It's import substitution.
We are not really utilizing our own raw materials.
Absolutely.
And manufacturing. If you say automobile, for example,
yes.
How much of the raw materials are coming from here?
They are coming from abroad.
Yes. How much of the spare parts are being put together?
Even the furniture. If you go my office here, you see there are furniture showrooms here and there. I went in there and said, these are local things we have, even better ones in Nigeria here, but they almost are from China. So go to as far as talking to go and bring some of this modern day, they call it modern day furniture, whatever as case may be. I have not seen. I remember those days in Benin, Bobosho, they used to do, better, furniture than what they bring in now. So they call it their manufacturer. I say, no, you are bringing this parts from Italy, from China to come and couple here. You understand? That is what we are doing. We are not manufacturing anything. And they started laughing and say, oh guys, the nature of the country, we have to make money very quickly.
Yes, I think that what those economists are saying there is that, well, that engagement is good. Nigerians talk about talk. Well, they say it's good to have jaw rather than war.
Absolutely, yes.
So let's encourage federal government, as being done here, to look at what happened to GSK and look at it in retrospect and with hindsight and see what they can do to encourage foreign investors, give them that confidence that they need. But first, security is there to create the right environment. 2, the right socioeconomic environment should be created. And then 3, something must be done about corruption. These are the ways to give them confidence, not just by calling a meeting and say, don't worry, everything is okay. I don't think any foreign investor will accept that. And GSK is gone and a lot of jobs lost, just as Michelin left Port Harcourt and all that, and so many other companies left. That has been the bane of Nigerian economy. You can't succeed without foreign investment, because the foreign investment brings revenue, a lot of revenue, and stimulates the economy. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back.
Every day, I check history,
One people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human Honorable statement. They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable.
Back, we're still at the economy and business segment of Atn Saturday, our magazine program. Let's look at more stories. Today, we're looking at the economy and some stories and business. Some stories are emerging in the last 24 hours. The Executive Secretary, National Working Committee, African Continental Free Trade Area, Nigeria, Segun Awolowo, has expressed the readiness of the country to join the second phase of the guided trade initiative by AFCTA is a solution-oriented approach that aims to facilitate trade between interested state parties by connecting businesses and products for export and import. The statement, the head, Strategic Communication Directorate of National Working Committee of the organization, Mabel Adorenke, said Awolowo disclosed this during a meeting with a delegation of the body, their secretariat. Awolowo noted that Nigeria's commitment to AFCFTA is very crucial in boosting the nation's economic growth, noting that the alliance will make Nigeria's economic goals and objectives broader. We're talking about free zones, trade zones all over the country. It's big. And the continental body is all we're talking about. There should be interconnectivity. I remember Bola Tinubu was talking about free trade in Africa. And free trade means that it must have something to trade with, commodity. And it must have the institution, it must have the framework. In Nigeria today, we have free zones, we have the One free zone, several free zones. Sometimes I think to ask how free and how are they motivating business transaction in Nigeria? Because if we don't do it well domestically speaking, how can we now go join Africa?
Well, you know, Nigeria, we always love acronyms.
Yes.
You know, MAMSA. You know, you have
so
debt fund.
Yes.
You know, free zone. You know, as the case may be. But at the end of the day, you find out that nothing comes out of that area. Like the local free zones we have, your net free zones we have around there. I've asked myself, I see their vehicles drive past me sometimes. I just ask myself, what exactly is this? What are they doing? NEPSA. What are they really doing? You understand? They are under which ministry? Is it Ministry of Trade and Commerce, or you know, are they the same capacity with Corporate Affairs Commission, etc. as the case may be? Nobody has been to explain this to me. But well, they will tell you that they are doing their job at the ports or whatever as the case may be. It's okay. What I look at is that if Nigeria wants to join the AFTA, or the second whatever as they call it, that is the trade, whatever for a sub-region, continental region, etc. It is encouraged. It will enhance more trading and transportation issues, etc. Amongst all the states. But I believe that the economic benefits of joining it, if we're harnessed, will benefit us more. There was a time America entered into a similar thing like that with Canada and Mexico and the rest of all those group. But later Donald Trump came and pulled America out of it and said that America was enslaving itself, to that particular sub-region as the case may be. I pray that Nigeria does not enslave itself, to there are other sub-regional countries as the case may be, like what happened in America. Otherwise, I believe it's something that we can put up our fingers and let's try and see if we can harness, what is going to come out of it as the case may be.
We're talking about giving us a broader perspective, encouraging our objectives and all that. Talking about free zones and talking about join the African initiative.
Yeah.
We're talking about economic integration. That's what we're talking about. Now, these free zones, sometimes have manufacturing activities going on there. They have a lot of trading activities, and they are usually located at some important trading points, like near the sea and all that. Talking about integration generally, people have talked about common currency, and Nigeria said if we try that, the stronger countries, what they call stronger countries in Africa that are even weak, will get weaker.
Yes, so I believe that the francophone sub-regionals,
yes,
they have tried. They have a common currency they call the CFA.
Yeah.
You understand? That CFA, I think it's a medium of exchange in those francophone countries in Africa. Yeah, but the anglophone part of Africa do not have any of those common currency. And I believe, like, I don't know how the workability of that particular, kind of system where maybe the Africa, countries will have a common currency they use. Of what use is that going to be for us, economically, etc. as the case may be? I don't see that benefit in my own, take. I don't think that if we begin to have, for instance, like they have in Euro, they say the euro and the pounds against the Dutch mark and the rest, or maybe the French franc as the case may be. I don't know the euro, for instance. Now the euro to the pounds, that is the British pound. So I don't know. So I hope, if sophisticated, economies like in Europe, they're having, challenges in terms of, single, a dollar, a single currency, a transmission. In Africa here, I'm sure it's going to be very murky, and I don't think it's going to serve the benefits that we want to be derivable, from that unification of a single currency. I doubt so.
I think a lot of things have done about integration in Africa. We talk about Trans-African Highway, like we're doing with gas, for example, in Nigeria, piping our gas through 11 countries in Africa, and all that. A lot of things are being done for continental integration. But whatever is happening, what should be at the back of the mind of African nations is to solve the problem of poverty, because we have a common foundation, which is poverty, and then neo-colonialist activities. If we begin to look at integration and begin to look inwards and solve our problems ourselves, especially economically speaking,
yes,
I think that Africa can come close to not being referred to a country that is just there. Like one author said, Africa should be converted to farmlands for the metropolitan countries. I think Africa deserves better right and attention, and that can only be achieved through proper integration process, economic integration, and political understanding among the various nations. And continental bodies like this, which has to do with trade initiative. I've always said, you can't talk about trade without talking about productivity.
Absolutely.
African countries must learn to be productive. It's not just marketing what others are producing. Now, in Nigeria, one commodity of trade that Nigerians can market, which I always talk about, is textile. I've always talked about that. Before now, I had the Kaduna Asabatex, Kaduna Textile.
That's right.
Yeah, Kwete. Then you have the Adire production, which is more or less
even the one in Aba.
Aba, yes.
Yes, Aba Textile Mill.
Textile Mill and all that. All that are no longer there. So I begin to wonder what we are selling, except oil. And of course, solid minerals are there, and they are there to exploit. And I'm happy that we don't have the kind of solid mineral we have in Niger and Congo that's making them unstable.
Yes.
When we go to government and governance, we talk about uranium, because there are some solid minerals that attract imperialist activities.
That's right.
And encourage conflict.
It's true.
We should be looking more on productive activities arising from agriculture.
Absolutely.
And all that.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take the next story. Nigeria vital to global green energy transition. That's mining. Yeah, that's why I was talking about mining. The Miners Association of Nigeria has said that Nigeria, which has huge mineral deposits, needs to transition from fossil to green energy. The president of the association, Mr. Dele Ayaleke, said this during the press conference in Abuja for the upcoming 8th edition of Nigeria Mining Week. He said the whole world is in transit from the era of fossil energy to green energy. Sorry. And Nigeria, being a destination for the huge deposit of minerals, needs this transition. He said it's imperative for stakeholders to come together to offer ideas to policymakers on the ways to pragmatically turn our resources into huge economic growth and development by accelerating the process of industrial revolution, taking advantage of the nation's mineral endowments. Also speaking at the press conference, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, Dr. Mary Ogbe, said the Mining Week is an opportunity for Nigeria to showcase its mineral resources to investors and drive conversations between government and mining operators, investors, and other relevant stakeholders. We're talking about conversation and all that. Global green energy is very important.
Yeah.
And diversifying the economy. And people are talking about solid minerals. So much in Nigeria. Virtually every segment of the country has solid minerals. But they're not properly utilized. You have artisanal operations taking place, just as we have bullfire in the south. That's how you have artisanal operations of mining, of gold, of tin, copper, and other such in Zamfara, in another part. Something is next this for the economic benefit of Nigeria. And that's also not remove the fact that we need green energy away from hydrocarbons.
Of course, the issue of mineral resources in Nigeria, near Africa, we all know it's abundant. Like I was said that there's one Professor Ali Mazri that did a documentary on Africa. Having seen what the mineral resources we have, there is nothing on earth that we don't have in Nigeria underground. According to him, I now said Nigeria, even Africa, it's a garden of Eden in decay. We are not exploiting, our mineral resources. Now when oil came out, you see, oil, we discovered oil, I think in the 1940s or whatever in Nigeria here, or before then, I don't know exactly.
Much more in economic in the
yes,
50s.
that's right, in the 50s. Before then, what were we doing? We were into agriculture, etc., as the case may be. And economies were thriving. Likewise in other African countries, as the case may be. Now, you find out that what is really happening to Nigeria has happened to countries before. I was thinking we are going to take a cure, learn from them, as the case may be. It happened in Dutch, it happened in Venezuela, and some other countries in that regard as the petrodollar states. They concentrated all their energies and whatever they are doing on fossil fuel, which has to do with what we call oil and gas here, as the case may be. So, but that has really misled, a lot of countries who rely solely on that particular mineral, to the exclusion of other, mineral resources. You find that some economists describe that situation like that is happening in Nigeria today as what they call the Dutch disease.
Yeah.
That Dutch disease is that they look at it that the Dutch people, what happened to them before they now realize what is happening. We were thinking that we would have, taken out, maybe deviated or maybe gone out of the particular, stray, so that we have our own and diversified economy. Now, like you rightly said, if you look at it, wherever you have, large deposit of these very expensive, minerals, resources in Africa, there are always conflict. You understand? In Congo, you have. In Nigeria right now, you have because of uranium. Even in Nigeria here, part of Nigeria is Zamfara state. We had some uprising, and insurrections that almost, crippled that, part of the country because of gold, the artisanal gold mine they were doing in that particular Zamfara and Bauchi, as the case may be. So the question is this: what is the Ministry of Solid Minerals, whatever as they call it, resources, the department, what are they doing about this thing? Because if we put our gold, a tin, we put columbite. I hear we have columbite in Nigeria here. We have coal in very large quantity in Enugu. Before now, the coal industry in Enugu, that was where we generated our energy from, and also for transportation, etc., as the case may be. But it was abandoned, when oil was now discovered. Now we don't even want to invest on that particular area, as the case may be. So I don't know exactly what is happening. Even the blue economy, there's what nations are now, tapping into what they call the blue economy, because it is not as destructive, as the, the oil and gas, situation that we have in our hands. Many nations are now, trying to exploit, that idea of a blue economy, because about 2 billion people all over the world, from what I heard, rely on the oceans and that particular, sector of economy that we have neglected. Nigeria has a very large, portion or chunk of the Gulf of Guinea, kind of, waters, and that will serve, to open another vista for us to earn foreign exchange in addition to what we are getting from the oil and gas industry.
I think we're going to look at that more in the next segment, because recently Nigeria created a Ministry of Blue Economy.
Yes.
And all that, and it's a very rich innovation, and I think a lot has paying particular attention to that.
Yes.
I think I like that idea. But the thing about this story that we're looking at is the issue of green energy. Yes, tin is not the same as hydrocarbon. Before now, we had the tin mining companies at Jos and all these places, constitute alternative energy resource. I think that's what they're talking about. But even beyond that, the water resources energy is also there. When you can talk of dams, you talk of solar power, wind energy. These are alternative energy sources, and they are green. And even the electric-driven automobiles and all that also constitute part of this so-called green energy. So they have mentioned green energy, and it's one area that our discussion must not
I understand.
Yeah, so
Well, the question I want to ask is this. Well, it's a very good area, good for Europe, etc., as the case may be. But in Nigeria here, I don't know how that is going to work out for us. I must be very sincere.
We're not making any effort. That's the point.
That's right. I don't know how that is going to work because it's strange to us. Let me use the word. It's strange to us. In those days, I read stories about what they call windmills. Outside of Nigeria.
I've seen them in Europe.
I'm not seeing one in Nigeria. Yes. So the European people and the Americans, they know what this green energy etc. It's all about right before now. So, but in Africa here, it's a new source of energy and innovation to us. So we are still looking at it as a very strange and kind of area to delve into. Look at, for instance, electric cars. I don't know how many Nigerians we will drive electric cars. As it is.
Some will say if you touch the car,
it will shock. Because they will tell you that
they may not do it well.
Yes, they might not even do it well. The second one is that if I have an electric car and I'm driving from here to maybe Lagos, how many points do I have to stop to recharge? As case when we don't have electricity in most parts of Nigeria. So these are the things inhibiting that aspect of it. Yes. As the case may be.
Yeah. So let's look at the last story on the economy and business. A lot is involved. I know that Adams is equal to the tax when it comes to talking. The Nigerian Labour Congress has declared that the pension system in the country has failed to address the fears of Nigerian workers. In buttressing its claim, the NLC revealed that the inefficiencies in the system recently made the police to lobby the Labour Congress to speak for the exit of policemen from the country's pension scheme. The NLC President Joe Ajero disclosed this in Abuja at the Pension Industry Roundtable, which had the theme Strategic Dialogue to Enhance Private Sector Participation in Pension Scheme. The roundtable was organized by the National Policy Advocacy Center of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, in collaboration with the National Pensions Commission. We must create a pension system that's integrity, that will attract more people. The police have lobbied us to speak on their behalf so that they will exceed the pension arrangement that we have. Why are they doing that? Ajero, who was represented by the Assistant General Secretary, Anesi Onyeka Chris, pointed out that the pensions were about the welfare of workers. That's what pensions are all about. And that's the story on pension. When they are no longer needed in their places, that's when workers need
yes.
And it's supposed to be there to address the problem of
yes.
workers. Now, if you look at pension issues generally, it's something that leaves so much to be desired.
Absolutely.
Now, the former pension scheme was abandoned by many states because there was this contributory system. I think that's what is being addressed. And a situation where you go home with what you contribute, and government is not contributing its own part. That has been the problem, challenging pension. The former pension scheme, which some of us exited with, I was happy that Rivers State government decided not to continue with the contributory pension scheme with the old stock of staff of civil servants, and only to leave that for the incoming. I think that generally the welfare of civil servants have been taken for a joke. We'll be talking about police reform in this country. What the police looks forward to at the exit of their service should be part of that reform, and it's also what they are complaining about here.
Of course. See, we don't even need to, go too far, to see, or ask a question, piddling questions on why, the pension, like what the Labour Congress and all the others are saying, has become so unattractive, and it's not motivating. A lot of people will not want to, partake in it because they know at the end of the day, it's suffering. I remember in those days, when I was growing up as a kid, I remember that our fathers and our uncles would say, I am training my kids now from my pension salary, my pension money. That is what I'm earning to take care of myself now. But now it's no longer like that. Because you see, somebody who ought to be getting his pension as at when due, cannot even get it. Whereas you keep this particular thing maybe in their bank or whatever as the case may be, the pension companies, etc. Fraud, of fraud and corruption, is inside that particular sector. So when a man having put in 35 years or more in a service, and at the end of the day, he now comes to say that this is what I contributed for that 35, because I believe that what is pension? Is it not for salaries that are being paid? A certain percentage is deducted from that particular salary and kept in a pool, sometime for you in the future. Now, when you say you want to get it, I don't know what comes out of it. They're going to give you stories. The government ought to also contribute their own part, to make it up for you, so that you can now have something to, lash in on when you exit a service. But these are not happening. So it has even become criminal to the extent that many people, like the man that was taken up because he embezzled pension funds. In those days, it cannot happen. So I don't think any reasonable, worker, like the police want to pull out now, they want to pull out because of the fact that they know that it's no longer what it used to be. Yeah. So the best thing for them to do is to look at other options of saving for their future rather than being in that pension scheme as the case. I will advise Nigeria Labour Congress, periscope and put more of energies in trying to peruse what goes on in that pension scheme issue, because it's becoming a scam to most workers as the case may be. It's no longer attractive as they claimed. I have nothing against them. You want to go headlong to maybe challenge the authorities on this and even go on the strike to see how they can remediate some of these situations for the workers.
Well, I think that's the much we can take for this segment. When we come back, we look at governance and politics. Don't get away. What is happening to my future? See this story. welcome back to Atn Saturday. Well, it is a magazine program, 3 segmented, and we've done entertainment, lifestyle, we've done governance, and economy. I mean economy and business. We've done that. Now this is the segment for governance and politics. And today on governance and politics, we are looking at waste management and environmental governance. Atn Microphone went to town to get feelers from a cross-section of the society on poor waste management situation in the state. Some of our respondents who are experts spoke on the need for using professionals in the sector. Others spoke on waste dump management, bringing to the fore the challenges therein. The role of collectors, called scavengers, is indeed a revelation that waste management is not given the deliberate and strategic attention it deserves, especially in the area of recycling. Collection of waste for recycling is left in the hands of scavengers who are not regulated or controlled. The scavenger syndicates in the state have become a mafia of some sort, and lorry and truckloads of waste are taken away from River State unchecked by relevant agencies. The issue of criminality among the scavengers is also sad commentary. Uncollected waste litter the streets and drains unattended to, thus exposing the state to the dangers of urban flash floods. Our correspondents went to town and brought these sound bites. Let's look at the sights and sounds of this phenomenon. These are scavengers. Where they take these scavenged materials to is another story.
The problem we have in the practice of waste management in Nigeria basically is centered on professionalism. Yes. And how many professionals are actually involved in waste management. One of the speakers talked about the scavengers. And one of the reasons why people don't actually patronize professionals is the intervention of the government in management of waste. Because government has seen waste as a political means of settling patronage that those who political support and refuse to allow the private sector to drive the waste sector. And because government is involved in this, the collection of waste, people do not have value for waste in terms of payment. So you have your waste, you buy an item worth of possibly 100,000, and by the time you finish, you don't know how to dispose it. You don't know how people come, and you are paying a peanut. How do you drive professionals to actually come into this sector? So first, we need professionals to drive the waste management sector or the environment professionally. And government, yes, our big brother, the head of the Department for Environment and Health, enough laws are there, yes. But is this law enforceable? Are we enforcing the laws that we have? That's one of the big problems we have. Number two, in it also, is that we have tried to say, government, please, we don't want you to spend the taxpayers' money in managing waste. Let us manage this waste to the point where the waste become a source of revenue generation. I want to tell you that waste is an industry. And if allowed to be managed properly, it's richer than the oil and gas industry. I stand to be corrected anyway. Yes, sir. So we from the private sector, we are saying that, look, for all the regulators that are here, we don't have problems with the regulators. Guide us very well in order to do the right thing. But give us a free hand to do what? Going into the sector and manage it. I will be glad if the government, both at the federal and the state level, will hands off from managing waste and allow the private sector to drive it. Now, another part of it, which is of concern to us, when you get out of the country, you see that the banks are interested in financing waste. But I want to tell you the sad story here, that the banks in Nigeria are not interested in supporting the waste management sector in terms of financing. Only for NLNG, if not for NLNG, that actually came at a point in time when most of us who are working for them actually will not have access to funds. NLNG now have to pull out some funds and pick about 5 banks to say, give funds to these people when you see them come with our people. And that is where the banks begin to discover that there are things they can do. Because if as an individual, it will be difficult for us to raise the fund because waste management is capital intensive. And so we need the banks to actually support. I would have been very happy if the bank sectors are invited here so that we can have a synergy and then be able to work together for a better environment. And then the other part of it I want to talk about also is facilities and equipment. The Rivers State government embarked on waste to wealth. And somebody asked here, where is the facility? Is it functional today? The Rivers State government dumps the sewage treatment plant. I'm still absent. Is the treatment plant still functional? I am interested in buying the byproduct of the sewage treatment plant. I have buyers who are coming from the north to get the byproduct because it's an organic fertilizer. So if that sector in Rivers State is functional, I stand here as the MD of CAPS Integrated to invest in that area. And so we want to challenge the government as well. Let's put that facilities into use. And I also want to bring here that the whole of the South, I have moved around, I've done my research. There is no sewage treatment plant. The whole of the South, there is no sewage treatment plant. So by implication, what it means that all the sewage in Rivers State, I have the data, every day we have about 139 to 140 trucks that move sewage down to the I'm not calling the dump site, the waterway. So we need to look at some of these things and the long-term effects on the environment. Thank you very much and God bless you.
I made my speech earlier that I serviced the final dump site between the year 2006 to 2015 when Governor Wiki came in and decided to leave. The management of the final dump site, I said, it's a very tedious work to do. But fortunately, we were able to contain those who were scavengers. And how did we go about it? Especially my own dump site, because then we had 2 dump site managers. We were not stationary at a particular point because you find that if there are challenges at a particular dump site, you are moved. It can be by 12 midnight, and you just get a call. Move from where you are to so place, because we weren't involved in the acquisition of the final dump site. So, at a time, because of the activities of these scavengers, because I came to realize that they are making so much money from the dump. Most of the calls you get, I mean the Yahoo boys, are papers picked from the dump site where you have your phone numbers and your contacts placed on it. In fact, they come to the dump site to buy them from my boys. And I try to stop it. But you know you cannot fight everything. But the time came when we decided to do who is involved in scavenging at the dump site. And I said, everybody must register. Fortunately, I sold the idea to the authority there, and they bought the idea, but it was short-lived. we're getting somewhere to get everybody involved so that all those scavenging at the dump sites will be registered and be known by every one of us.
Regional manager here under the or Uwama, and it's being managed by the government. It's a dump site for using in the terrain. It's a borrow pit that we took from the owners of the land, and we are using it. As you can see, the ones that are coming here are contractors paid by the government. We call them service providers. They bring the rock from the town, bring it here, that's how we see it. Whoever that is coming here must take, there's a pass. The authority people before you can.
Well, you're welcome back. You've had that whole narrative there, from the good, the bad, the ugly. So much issues arising from environmental governance in Rivers State, especially when it has to do with waste management, which has processes of waste generation, collection, waste disposal, dump, recycling. These are processes, and these processes require certain environmental management principles. And one of the most important is the issue of segregation at the point of collection, so that they put the right waste in the right bags, and they are taken to the appropriate places, either recycling or for other purposes. In fact, when you go to some waste dumps in Port Harcourt, foreign countries will enjoy it. Not, in fact, what you find there is not waste in any way, because that's what we call waste to wealth. The issue of recycling, even the discarded ones at most dump sites, can be used for other purposes, manures and all that. There are companies that are coming to Port Harcourt to look for those. But the point is that those of us who are smelling the nuisance, the neighborhoods in some of these areas that are inhaling the nuisance, those who drive past the roads where these nuisance are heaped, don't have any benefit at all. And the state government is not making any kobo from this process. You dump the waste, the scavengers come, pick the plastics, put them in their bags, heap them in trucks, lorry loads of trucks. You saw that resource person there in that conference,
yes,
talking about the amount of trucks that leave Port Harcourt with segregated waste, plastics and all that. And they are heading to industries outside Port Harcourt for recycling. And even not much is done about this in Port Harcourt. When you talk about green energy, green resources, green policies in environment, recycling is number one.
You are correct. You are correct. They see the problem is this. Right from time immemorial, I think man and waste, they are all together. Because in our various, living homes, wherever we are, or anywhere we go to, we generate, waste every time. So man and waste, they are like, will I say Siamese twin or whatever, as the case may be. So, but the issue has been that of waste management, because we must generate waste on a daily basis. There must be, etiquettes of waste management. And how do you do about this? Is that is for you to have enforceable laws, that will checkmate, how you dispose of you have the right to generate your waste, but how do you dispose of this waste, and then manage them is another area that the government has to look into. Now, if you go through all the cities in Nigeria here, you find out that you see a lot of waste on the street, which means the management area is zero, or maybe is zero. In fact, most states do not have that capacity. They don't have that machinery for them to manage waste generations. Now the other one is that you find out that even where there's an attempt to create a semblance of a system of managing waste, you find that they are not well managed. They just create like what they call receptacles along the road where you dump your waste, and that is the end of it. They feel they have done all they are supposed to do. Whereas in that particular receptacle, there ought to be something that will take those waste to a dumping ground, general dumping ground in the city, where managed dumping ground. I remember that Lagos State used to have, one of the where you have these incinerators here and there, and a machine that you bring it those ways, they kind of sift the waste from the good ones and make it out, then take it and process it. Waste can be processed and used for energy. It can also be processed and used for manure. In Germany, I saw one article that I read. Because Germany does not have good water as the case may be because of that Second World War. So what they were doing was to manage our effluents, what we call feces, whatever. There's a way they manage it. They generate good drinking water from that. Whereas the solid part of it are turned into manure and some other things for which a government make a lot of money from. Now, in Nigeria, for instance, I am sure that if waste management is well enabled and government is serious about using this and recycling it, it's going to be a multi-billion naira industry. Have you not asked yourself the reason why I'm saying this is? Because the reason why I'm saying this is because now if you go to most of the receptacles we have along the road, you see those boys with bags, scavengers. They always go to those waste areas, begin to pick one or two things out of it, which means there is wealth in that particular waste. And I have seen situations where as they pick, they don't just pick it for fun. They pick it and take to a collector who weighs them and give them money. Now if you are able to do business in that fashion, why can't government, for instance, fashion out a way to create a tax ring around this particular enclave of scavengers? It's not illegal for you to scavenge, but if you scavenge in a commercial level and manner like the way they do in most of our dump site, government will make a lot of money from there through taxation. Once you generate waste, you take it to the receptacle along the road, from there to the main dump, and you control them. Once you get to the main dump, you have those scavengers who now come, they pay a fee or a token to go and scavenge and get some good things from there. Then trucks who are moving out of the state also can also be taxed to a level that the government will use to generate resources. So the Ministry of Environment is not doing much. I know that we have environmental laws in Rivers State and some other states. Some of these things are well stated. Why can't we have a waste? Why can't we have a waste disposal a system that is very efficient and effective, so that we can use it to make wealth out of it? It's what we call waste to wealth. That does not what they mean by waste to wealth. From waste you get a lot of wealth. You can even use that to employ some people who are unemployed by setting up small scale companies for them. Those who go around gather this waste, take it to receptacle, throw it to the dumps. Then they also manage and pay returns to government. That is what that particular seminar is talking about, and we are clamoring for. We hope the government on the day will listen and begin to take this very seriously. That is the situation. A recycling plant ought to be in maybe, let me say, one of the Niger Delta states, that we can even take waste from Bayelsa to Port Harcourt to come and recycle. You can recycle waste like it's done elsewhere abroad, and change to plastic, change to so many things. I've seen documentaries where in Ghana, the government recycle waste and people are involved. It's a multi-billion naira industry that is lying fallow. The government can change this mentality and activate a system where waste to wealth can truly be practiced in Nigeria. It's not any possibility.
See,
I pray to do that.
The problem I have is that you're talking about Niger Delta states, the South in particular. We have a lot of only Aba, which is part of the political Niger Delta, that you have this recycling stuff. How can we be taking our waste to the north, to the west?
That is it's serious.
Recycling plants produce bottles, produce a lot of things from the waste plastic generated from here, and we don't seem to be doing anything about it.
And nobody is taxing them. They don't pay. They pay it or nothing.
And even the raw materials that are removed from these waste materials that are sent outside the state are not taxed. And some people are whispering. As a journalist, I don't like dealing with rumor that there is a kind of corruption, a cartel going on there at some of the dump sites. where some of this money goes to private pockets.
Absolutely so, yes.
And this kind of thing Rivers State government should investigate. And it was said there at the seminar.
Absolutely, yes. Yes. I listened to it.
It was said there at the seminar. I'm not the one saying it. So now, there's also the idea of regulating the behavior of scavengers outside the dumps. You see, I like the scavengers outside the dump because they can be controlled. Because the trucks are there, those who manage them are there, and all that. But the scavengers that walk the streets seem to be the enemy of the state. They are the ones that remove manholes. They are the ones that remove rails on flyover bridges.
They know the nooks and crannies of the stairs.
And they go through your compound. If you don't, they can even carry your generator.
Absolutely. They can even help criminals to transport guns.
Guns, exactly.
As the case may be, because I have seen a situation where you see those scavengers with their cart. Otherwise, they pull through the police checkpoints. Police don't even look at them and say they want to, check them. And so criminals can even use them to transport drugs, can use them to also transport, criminal items like guns, etc. from place to place. So these are things that the government must put an eye into, so that they begin to manage these things effectively well for the good of all. We are not saying that they are not important to the state, but they should be properly managed and controlled, as the case may be, because there's a criminal aspect to some of all these things, like you rightly said. If you watch out in a gated estate, for instance, when you go in there, some of them you come out in the morning, they tell you that they caught one of them who took a generator.
Yes.
etc. as the case may be. I've seen some, they take people's batteries, So if they are not well managed, you are going to find this kind of things happening. But if we know that they are giving licenses for them to operate within a neighborhood, then we know who to hold responsible, and they can easily be checkmated. The government should put an eye on this. That is what we are talking about.
It's like the ironmongers among them. They go around picking iron, picking things that are related to iron materials. But when they go out, and I see them on the street, I begin to ask questions. Who is regulating these people?
There's nobody.
Nobody. The manholes are removed, the side rails of bridges and all that. And there was a time in this state when they were banned. And people say, no, they are a veritable source of
employment. But that is not kind of employment one, yes.
And all that. I don't have any problem with scavengers being at waste dumps and those who carry those trucks. But those at waste dumps should be properly managed to generate revenue for the state.
Absolutely.
And those who walk along the streets, who carry carts, they call them cart pushers, are very terrible people. And scavengers who also walk in the streets contribute to littering the streets.
Because they take the one they want and they dump the other ones. Yes.
The issue of bagging of refuse is one issue that Rivers State government and Riwama have seemed to have emphasized so much. But when these refuse are bagged by individual households and brought to receptacles, the scavengers come to puncture them, scatter the refuse here, left, right, and center. And this is why those who walk outside the dump site should be checked. Why can't they wait until these things are put in receptacles, carried in compactor trucks and other trucks and tippers, sent to the dump site, and then they can go there and operate? Because
the government, for instance, in the area where I stay, how do we manage our waste? Now, is government not supposed to be proactive and have something on ground, for us, enabling environment for us? If I come out of my premises, for instance, I know where to go and drop, my waste, like it's done with the olden days. Bags, you understand. But I don't really know where the receptacle around me here is. So what I normally do now is that once I come out from my house, or my family come out, they normally go after these scavengers and say, come and help us, evacuate this waste. Exactly. And we will pay them. Okay. We will have to pay them to evacuate those waste for us. As when the government,
those are private waste contractors.
I know these people
not the ordinary scavenger that carry bags. These can carry trucks.
We have some of them who carry trucks.
Those ones are waste.
But they are not registered.
Okay, they're not registered.
They are not registered with government. I know that a particular ethnic group is involved in this. They wheel their cart around, and they when you come out they take your waste away. Yes. You pay them a token to do that. Yes. So what I'm saying is that in those days, I know that from the state or the area I come from, we used to have a dump, a kind of a receptacle, where they put some dump all our waste in.
Receptacles.
Kind of. From your compound, you can see it. It's not far from you. You go there and drop. Then the government will now come at the end of the day and sweep that place and take that waste to a dumping ground, elsewhere outside of the town.
Exactly.
But I can't find that happening right now.
Now, right here now, you see, we're saying the same thing.
Yes.
Now, if you look at this cat pusher, there are some specialized cat pushers who carry refuse.
Of course, yes.
And they pay them. They are not licensed. There are individuals trying to make ends meet. Some of them are very decent. In my estate, they come with truck.
Okay.
At the end of every week to pack, because we have
please.
We have an incinerator where we keep things like that. And so they come and pack and they are paid.
Okay.
And they send them to recognized official receptacles.
Okay.
The point I'm making is that these are decent operators. Some of them. Some of them are also not decent. All scavengers should be banned from the streets because they are contributing to the uncollected waste that litter the streets of Port Harcourt. They puncture bagged waste. Scavengers should be contained. Those who are, because it's a cartel. If you arrest one, in the next 5 minutes is released.
You see them, yes.
Because it's a whole cartel. The big factory owners in the north and
will
west
come out.
Are the ones who sponsor them. And like you said, they weigh their products and then throw into their trucks. They should be confined to waste dumps in Port Harcourt. Aside.
Okay, where they will begin to scavenge and do whatever they want to do. Not on the street.
Not on the street.
Not on the
they
street.
Should wait for these things to be packaged, put in compactor trucks, and sent to the dumps. Then they can go there. Because, like you saw in the pictures that we just showed.
Yes, yes.
You saw hundreds of them there doing their work. As the trucks pour down and the bulldozers are pushing them in, they are picking.
That's right.
They can operate there. And if they operate there and they are properly regulated and taxed,
government will make money.
Government will make money.
And it will be more efficient.
Efficient, and the city will be cleaner. That's the problem. But the point is that we are not having it decent, and we are losing a lot of money. In fact, in Rivers State, we used to have a sewage plant.
Okay, yes.
That was being built by a German firm. I remember that a cousin of mine was a special advisor on sewage in Rivers State, and is based in the US. And he was in charge of that project. Where has that project during Amateur administration? We don't know anything about that.
We don't know anything about it.
That project is dead. It's still part of the waste to wealth scheme.
And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in that aspect of the economy.
Scrap, metal scrap plant that was built in Kira Egoni, Norway. So we have a lot to do, and that conference was a wake-up. That seminar.
I hope the government will listen and implement.
No, the government officials were there.
Yes,
that conference was a wake-up call on all those in charge of waste management, because all stakeholders were brought. Even I remember that the sanitary inspectors were blasted. In fact, one journalist stood up and asked one of them, "You just wear this uniform and look good on the street. You are doing nothing." He was so blunt about it.
As compared to those days.
Those days
where sanitary inspectors used to come down.
Yes, we afraid of sanitary inspectors.
Absolutely. So they come to the house and they inspect your premises and compound. And if your compound is not well kept, what is going to they'll just fine you or arrest you. You know. So, but today I don't know what has happened. Truly, they just wear their uniform, looking very very well dressed, and they go to hotels where they get food and all those things.
The hotel issue came up in the conference.
That's right. That is where they
the
go
hotel
to.
issue come on. The chairman of a hotel, and I'm sure you listen to them. The chairman of hotel and tourism in Rivers State, Eugene Wuzi, complained about this sanitary inspectors looking so beautiful and going to hotels rather than inspect the discharge of effluents.
That's right.
And all that are going on. They are compromised. They
That's
sit down and eat rice.
They eat rice, drink beer even as it is, and they give them money.
And if you pass by some of these eateries,
yes,
in the evening, the kind of smell that come out of their drains, that is what the
sanitary inspectors or whatever should
the sanitary inspectors should inspect.
Yes.
Seal those hotels that are channeling their waste into dustbins, into drains in Port Harcourt. Go to GRA, you find them. I don't want to mention any of those hotels and eateries. They channel their drains, or we call it effluents or whatever, into the drains, and they constitute nuisance. They smell all over the place. Oh, it's terrible. Well, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we conclude.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blow.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
No agreement with the EU, but
Yeah, welcome back. It's still Atn Saturday, our magazine, a three-segmented magazine program, and we are on governance and politics. We just looked at environmental governance in Rivers State in Nigeria, and what you saw there is a very sorry sight. It's not a good narrative, it's not a good story, and it can still take us more and more time to talk. But let's look at other stories on politics and governance. ECOWAS force to confront Niger junta. Troops of Economic Community of West African States have pledged readiness to participate in a standby force that will restore civil rule in Niger Republic should diplomatic efforts to reverse a coup there fails. All member states, except those under military rule, and Cape Verde pledged to participate in the standby force at a meeting in Accra, Ghana capital. Addressing the defense chiefs from ECOWAS member countries, the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Abdel Fattah Musa, said, unquote, "Let no one be in doubt if everything else fails. The valiant forces of West Africa," the valiant, not valiant now, forces of West Africa are ready to answer to the call of duty. By all means, available constitutional order will be restored in the country. According to the Ghana news agency, Musa said ECOWAS will go to Niger with its resources, and any organization willing to help was welcome. The commissioner said the request for Chapter 6, this Chapter 7, is often done in order to secure resources and assets contribution from the UN offer. The heads of state are saying we are going to Niger with our resources. Anyone who wants to help us, fair enough. Talking about Chapter 7 of United Nations Charter. Yeah, that's what the charter is talking about. It sets out the UN Security Council powers to maintain peace. It allows the Council to determine the existence of any threat to peace, breach of peace, or act of aggression, and to take military and non-military action to restore international peace and security. Now, talking about Chapter 7 of that UN Charter, does it give ECOWAS powers in isolation?
I don't think so. You see, we always, in Africa, we always take advantage of chapters or laws that favor our cause. That chapter is not the only one in the UN Security Council that enables a sub-regional or a country to go into, war or maybe invade another country, another sovereign country. under the Charter 53 sub 1 of the United Nations Security Council, there's a charter that says that no sub-region and no country, will go into war or maybe invade another country, another sovereign country, without the express permission of the United Nations through its United Nations Security Council. And in this case, Africa, ECOWAS is a sub-region of Africa, and also the countries that make up this sub-region are all members of the United Nations, as the case may be. That is number one. So that is not the sole motivation that will make them go to war. That particular chapter 7, gives them that impetus. What that particular
this UN does it give ECOWAS?
It doesn't give ECOWAS. What that particular chapter is only about is contribution. That is, if need be, under that particular chapter, a UN can, summon some other countries to join them to fight, and they can also dollar monetary assistance to aid them, intelligence, etc., as the case may be. But that is not all. You have the most important one, which I said, that you must have that particular, consent. Only America also has defied that particular, chapter 53 sub 1, United Nations. They went and they invaded Iraq and some other countries. Then ECOWAS also did that when they entered Liberia, etc. and Cote d'Ivoire. But immediately they did that, the following week they sought, the permission of United Nations Security Council. Now, apart from that, another inhibiting, factor is the other ones in countries, their, a territorial constitution. That says, like for instance in Nigeria here, if you go to section 5, sub 1, it says that Nigeria or its army or the president, cannot or should not allow our forces to invade another particular country without getting a 2/3 majority vote and consent from the National Assembly, which is the lawmaking body. So if, for instance, if Nigeria wants to join and fight in this particular, maybe invade Niger, as case may be, the president under that section 5 sub 1 has to go to the National Assembly to get consent. And I believe that Ghana and other countries who form, part of those who are going to invade Niger should have such clauses in their, constitution, because that is a universally acceptable and accepted clauses in all constitutions. All constitutions of the world has those, these clauses embedded in them. For instance, in the United States, you can't go to war without the approval of Congress. Although some very belligerent and stubborn presidents do go outside that, but it's not the normal situation, as the case may be.
So is there a contradiction between ECOWAS protocols and then the laws of the land with respect to Nigeria joining any ECOWAS confrontation?
Of course, there's a clear contradiction between them, between ECOWAS, motive now, motive as the case may be now, to go into ECOWAS was set up for peace. That's why economy, for economic reason and popular integration. That's why it's called economic community. You understand? So they ought to know that the primus, importance and the reason why they are there is for economic integration. Then even within the ECOWAS fold, their charter, I find that there's a charter in ECOWAS that says that peace should be encouraged amongst nation state. The issue of war or aggression is not part of that of their protocol, as the case may be. But I know that the way it has been couched right now because of this Niger issue is that they are working on the ego problem, because why they are so insistent on invading Niger is because, like they said, that Guinea-Bissau, there was coup there, then it now stretched to Mali, from Mali now to Burkina Faso, then Burkina Faso now to Niger. That the entire Sahel belt is taken over by coupists. So that this time around they will not allow that to happen, because you know why? The Sahel region where the Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali belong has about half of African airspace. If that particular region, the Sahel region, is allowed to blossom and bludgeon into war situation and uprising, it will be very difficult for us to even have our planes, fly across that particular, area, because they have a very wide. If you check the map, you find out what I'm trying to say. If you are going from Nigeria, you must pass through that area to UK, etc.
Except you go to Senegal.
Except you go to Senegal, as case may be. So these are the things. So that is why they are saying that they don't want coupists to take over that Sahel, region, as case may be. So ECOWAS protocol and territorial, constitutions, they are in direct conflict. Like that of Nigeria, for instance, I just told you about what Section 5, is talking about. That the president cannot even invade, cannot even participate in this whatever ECOWAS invasion now without the consent of the National Assembly. The only area the president can have a leeway to go outside of this is Section 5 sub 4 of the 1999 Constitution that says that yes, the only area the president can on his own sumo to say call the chief of staff or army staff to invade or maybe go into a country, go into a war with Cameroon or Niger is if Niger attack Nigeria first, or maybe Cameroon attack Nigeria first. You remember those days under Shagari administration, Chad attacked Nigeria. Then President Shehu Shagari now sent the then Colonel Buhari, who was leading a battalion in Sokoto or whatever there, to go immediately and counter and repel that particular insurrection and attack.
He has the power as a president.
He has the power as president. Then immediately ran to the Senate to let them know that I have to invoke my powers under that particular section. So the only way the president Tinubu can the soldiers of Nigeria can belong and go is, for instance, if Niger attack a section of Nigeria, then the president has no other option to tell the army to go and repel it, then go and seek the consequential consent from National Assembly. But in this case, if he does not do that, then it means he has run foul of our constitution. That is where the problem is. So ECOWAS must have to integrate territorial, constitutional, inputs vis-a-vis the protocol of ECOWAS for them to do this.
It's an interesting narrative there. Let's take our last story. I think it's a very serious matter because the Niger Republic story is getting complicated.
Yes.
A lot of things are involved. There are, you have what they call the Islamic jihadists confronting them, and then they have ECOWAS, then they have the multilateral organizations putting pressure on them to do what they want to do. I think it would be in the interest of the people in the good interest of the people of Niger, the common man, for this matter to be resolved finally.
I think so, because if you look at what is happening in Niger today,
do
you know that the coupists, those who head it, they are even taking their families out of Niger now.
Exactly. So
that tells you that the ordinary Nigerians are the ones that will suffer the heat, as the case may be.
Yes.
I am not in support of war or maybe invasion of Niger, but I am not also in support of coups.
Yes.
Because you see, no nation want to have a belligerent, a national neighbor, by its borders. Niger, for instance, if there are coups as the case may be now, where Nigerian flag is being born, it is as the case may be, they are going to be an enemy state to us. So no nation want to have, that kind of a nation, by its borders. So let the two parties, and in fact the coupists, they should be open to negotiation and talk with the body, because Niger is a signatory, to the ECOWAS protocols that says that we forbid use of force in overthrowing constitutional governments in West Africa, Nigeria, and the world. They signed it. So why have they broken it? You go through Chiani, the person leading this particular, Nigerian coup, also participated, to install Alassane Ouattara in Ivory Coast. He led it. And the second one was that 3 years ago, when the coup,
so it's a missionary.
Not a missionary. He was against coups.
Okay.
He was against. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
He was against change of government by force. That was why he participated. He was a battalion leader. When Alassane Ouattara was to install, when Cote d'Ivoire had their problem. Then 3 years ago, before now, do you know that he was the one that led, the forces to go and do what now to repel a particular coup that was to overthrow the former president. Yeah. So I don't know why he has gone out of his way to become a coupist at this point in time. Well, it's so sad.
It's unfortunate, and like you said, nobody would like to have belligerent government as neighbors. America does that. When they see their enemies very close to their borders,
yes,
they get worried. And that's why there has to be some kind of reconciliation between
absolutely
the Nigerian government with respect to what ECOWAS is going.
Absolutely.
And there also needs to be reconciliation within the confines of ECOWAS government. A lot of issues are coming up. The ECOWAS, the Niger coupist recently said he would like to dialogue, but his body language doesn't seem to.
No, it's not. It's not. You see, what they are doing is this. They know that the odds are against them, to an extent.
Yeah.
Do you know that even there's this man they call, his name is Riza, he's also waiting for ECOWAS. He has given ECOWAS a timeline to say that if ECOWAS does not flush and restate, Bazoum, that himself, a Tuareg, and his other group, they have been rebels all this while, that they'll take Chani and the coupists out if ECOWAS does not act. So I'm very sure that between now and December, Niger might be in full-blown war, as case may be. So we hope it does not happen, because it's not going to be good for Nigeria, because about 8 states, for our common, boundary, share borders with Niger, as case may be. So the best is for us to work out the possibility of talking. Now I'm happy that even though he sent some pseudonyms and people, some cronies, whom he said they are Islamic, clerics, to come and negotiate, with ECOWAS and especially Nigeria, they should listen to them. But let them also not escalate it in Niger by killing Bazoum, as they have promised to do. If ECOWAS decide to do anything that is outside of their purview, that they will slaughter, Bazoum. If they do that, that means that it's going to be full-blown, invasion or war. Exactly. Because Bazoum come from, an ethnic group that has a majority also in that particular area. Chinese from a minority, because they have not been together, all this while. Even though the National Army of Niger is just standing hands akimbo and watching the presidential guard, because those who took over this whole thing, it's not the army, it's not the National Army, it's just the elite presidential guard of Niger. You understand? So what caused their problem was, it's not because of corruption that they said they want to remove this man, but because of that spendings of defense spendings within them, buy more arms and the rest of them. Yeah. That's how they took the man out.
Well, thank you very much, Simi Adams, barrister at law, public affairs commentator, very vocal. I'm sure I've taken you to a very long marathon on this question. Thank you for coming to the program, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. Always
thank you for being out there for us, gentlemen, our viewers. You've been very great. Thanks for being there for us. Watch our transmission on our various platforms, as you see on the screen there. As usual, our various platforms are there for you to look, Facebook and what have you. Well, this is much you can take. Bye. Thanks for being there. And don't forget, peace is very important when it comes to indeed is the gateway, is the pathway to progress. Peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Make peace your watchword. Don't do anything that will generate chaos. Let every action and utterances of yours be a building block to peace. I always say this, and my name is Bon Woki. Stay tuned for other programs of the station. Don't get away.